Reddit stories. I stole about 70k from my parents over the past year. My parents live in another state from me but left a large amount of cash in a hidden location back here in our home state. I've had access to said stash ever since they left. About a year ago I lost my job and have been struggling to find new work in my area that pays enough to keep my bills in order. I got a little desperate and took what I needed from their pile to make ends meet. To make a long story short, I kept going back as the temptation was too hard to resist. The money was spent on mostly rent, food, random expenses, dentist, vet bills, and occasionally fun things like a new video game. For the most part just living. It's been a year now and I've taken a noticeable amount and am starting to really feel the guilt and weight of my actions. My parents collectively make about 300k yearly and have been doing so for some time now, so they aren't stretched for cash. It was essentially an emergency fund I've been exploiting. But now I worry that when they inevitably discover that their money is gone they'll press charges and send me to prison. I'm newlywed and don't think I could give up my spouse and go to jail. The thought depresses me to the point where I think I'd rather commit suicide. I genuinely don't know how my parents will react when they find out what I've done. It terrifies me. I love my parents very much and the thought of this being brought to light breaks my heart. There is a good chance that they won't find out for another year or two at most. Part of me wants to enjoy what time I have left of them being oblivious and the other part wants me to get it over with and confess what I've done. Overall I feel super shitty but now there is no way I can repay them at this point. Most money I've made in my life is $18/HR and that barely paid my cost of living, let alone pay back a debt like this. I have stopped taking from the stash and I am applying like crazy to get a new job before what little cash I still have runs out. I already know I'm a shitty person, but it does feel slightly better to talk about this finally. Thanks for listening. Second story. I bullied a girl until she moved away from my hometown. My name is Jason, and I am now 16 and I just need to get this off my chest. It first started when I was in 3rd grade. She had just moved to our school, and she was in the same class as me and my friend, and one day me and my friend saw her picking her nose and wiping it on her dress. And me and my friends started to bully her. We also would bully her about the clothes she wore and her hair and how she looked. One day I had even put gum in her hair, and she had to cut her hair just to get it out. I don't know why I treated her the way I did. Most days when I think about this, I wish I could have been her friend. Again, the bullying continued in 4th grade as well. She eventually told a teacher, and I told the teacher she was lying and even got my friend to back me up and the teacher believed me and made her stay inside for recess. But I was mad at her for telling the teacher, so the next day me and my friend devised a plan to get back at her. So, the next time it was recess we pretended we were sorry for the way we been treating her and led her away from the teachers and pushed her into a mud puddle and her clothes were ruined. And she started crying, so, me and my friend ran away so we wouldn't get in trouble. And when I got home, I told my older brother, who told my mom, and my mom forced me to write an entire apology and told me to give it to her the next day and grounded me for a month. But the next day I was supposed to give it to her, she wasn't there. I asked the teacher about it, and she told the class that she had moved. I don't know where she moved. I don't know if she moved because of me or for some other reason, but whenever I think of the way I treated her it just ruins my day. I hate myself for how I treated her, and I'm not sure if I can ever forgive myself, and I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. Edit. For all the comments telling me it's so easy to use social media to find her. Newsflash, it's not. She's not the type of person to use social media, and if she did, she wouldn't use it very often. Plus I don't even know her last name, only her first, and I don't know what she even looks like, as that was like 8 years ago. If it was so easy to find her, I would have done so. Third story. I wasted thousands of my print shop's materials for my NSFW collection. NSFW. I used to work in a print shop and I became a big fan of the glossy, expensive prints. I first made one poster for myself, and they told me not to use the glossy stuff because it's very expensive. I was looking into an obscure hobby at the time. Now, just stay with me here. Sexual gratification is something everybody experiences differently. Some people beat off into socks for the feel of it. Me. I do it onto posters of attractive people, celebrities mostly, covered by clear plastic. I got really into it when I started having shifts at the print shop alone, where I had the freedom to do anything. I printed several posters a day, running up hundreds of dollars a week because I only used the nice, expensive material. Several months later I had a sizable collection and it cost me nothing, except a guilty conscience. I worked with the nicest people and it breaks my heart to think of how upset my boss would be if he found out. I never told anyone, not even my closest friends, because I would be ashamed if anyone knew for several reasons. The guilt caught up to me and I threw all the posters away one night, but it didn't make me feel any better. We went out of business and I can't help but think that I had a lot to do with it. Fourth story. I fought a special needs kid and was never caught. So, backstory. I am a 6 feet 1 inch 165 pounds 14-year-old, and this kid is like 90 to 100 pounds 13-year-old, so obviously no fight would be a fair fight. This kid was very high functioning but a little autistic, but I consider him to not be impaired at all. So this kid, I'll call him Roger, has an inexplicable hate for me. I believe it's because I accidentally tripped him on one of the first few days we knew each other. He hated my guts beyond your imagination because I wouldn't feed into his attempted bullying. He knocked over my drink 2 days in a row, and I just didn't say anything because it's probably an accident or his special needs. The third day in a row, I knew it was no accident. So I brought some good double-sided tape and taped it down. He hit it as expected, and it didn't fall over. He was mad now, so he potted his revenge. Every time he saw me he tried to trip me and even lied to my friends about me, nearly ruining my relationship with my GF, and almost got me in trouble for harassment, but everyone said he was lying. The worst thing he did was he managed to steal my phone while it was on, ran into the women's bathroom, and was about 2 clicks from sending literal hardcore porn to my mother. At this point I had enough, so I contacted the principal and he just told me, and I quote, "He's special needs, we legally cannot do anything to him, even if he did what you claim he did." So I formed a plan. He had mentioned wanting to fight a few times, he thought he could just punch me in the balls, so I shoved him in the hallway to make him ask for a fight. As expected, he said, "Do you want to fight, you little prick? I swear your balls will regret it." I responded with, "Sure, let's go out to the field, we can settle this right now." I don't think he expected me to say yes, but was too prideful to back down. So now, with no people watching, we squared up and as expected I absolutely destroyed him. I pushed him to the ground, kneeled on his chest while scratching his arms with my inhumanly long fingernails, then picked him up over my head and did a rep with him, before dropping him 6 feet down onto the grass. I then proceeded to step on his chest, tell him that if anyone hears of this then death will be too good for him, and I walked away. I would do it again, but it's nice to get off of my chest.